Welcome to the Human 5 Project, the podcast where we cut straight to the breakthroughs that matter, the show where science meets self-optimization. I'm your host, Ultimate Biohacker 10X, and here we break down the real research, real data, and real dosing behind modern biohacking, from compounds and peptides to techniques, devices, lifestyle strategies, and performance protocols. Most people jump in and jump out before they get the gold, so we're keeping it tight and delivering the essential insights you need without the fluff. If you've taken the time to hit play, we'll make sure you walk away with valuable knowledge that can transform your approach to longevity, health optimization, and beyond.
People look for peptides for 5 reasons. They want to drop body fat, they want to heal faster, they want to sleep deeper or think more clearly, they want to slow down inflammation-driven aging, or improve skin and hair. And most people are doing it backward, stacking chaos with no map, no baseline, and no measurement. Tonight we do it clean. Buckets, evidence tiers, and a decision framework that keeps you honest. No fluff. All right, let's lock this one in. Hey players, Ultimate Biohacker 10X here on the mic to stimulate your cerebrum and force you to ask the hard questions. Why am I here, and what do I want to achieve? You are in the right place, so welcome to the Human 5.0 Project. But first, a disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only, not medical advice. Many peptides are off-label, experimental, depending on jurisdiction and context. If you have medical conditions or take meds that affect blood pressure, glucose, mood, hormones, or clotting, you know where we're going. Clinician lane first. Cool? Let's go. Rule number 1, foundations first. If your sleep, protein, training, and stress are a mess, peptides won't save you. They'll just give you an expensive story. Rule number 2, if you're not tracking baselines, you're guessing. We are not guessing tonight. All right, so back to rule number 1, foundations first. Peptides aren't replacement biology, they're signal nudges. If you want the highest ROI stack before anything else, sleep consistency, same wake time most days, strength training, muscle is survival tissue, zone 2 conditioning, mitochondria and metabolic flexibility, protein adequacy, that's your repair substrate, alcohol control, it kills sleep and recovery, and stress downshift because chronic fight or flight blocks healing. If your foundations are weak, you'll misread everything, you'll think a peptide worked when you simply slept better, or you'll think it failed when you're under-recovered and underfed. Now, the buckets. Bucket 1 is fat loss. The real target here isn't fat. It's usually appetite, adherence, and metabolic control. There are 2 big lanes people confuse. Appetite, metabolic signaling tools, the less hunger, steadier glucose lane, and lipolysis signaling claims, the fat-targeting peptide lane. Hard truth, if you're not lifting and you're not hitting protein, rapid weight loss can cost you lean mass, and that's a longevity tax. What to measure? Non-negotiable here. Waist trend, strength trend, even 1 to 2 lifts, weekly weight trend, not daily emotion. Steps, sleep score, and regularity. If fat loss is your lane, the best peptide is still sleep and protein and training and steps. Everything else is optional. Bucket 2 is pain and recovery. This bucket is where people get desperate, and desperation makes bad experiments. These peptides get talked about because they're associated with inflammation modulation, tissue repair signaling, recovery pathways, but the most reliable tissue healing inputs are still load management, progressive rehab, protein and calories, and sleep. If you ignore rehab and chase molecules, you're basically trying to buy your way out of physics. What to measure? Daily pain score, same time every day, function metrics, range, reps, load, tolerance, training log, what you can do week to week. The stop rule, and set this before you start. Worse function, worse pain trend, or no objective improvement by your deadline. That's when you stop and reassess. Bucket 3 is sleep and brain performance. Anxiety, focus, mood, brain fog, insomnia. These compounds get attention because they're discussed as neuroactive signals, but the adult truth is if your sleep is unstable, your brain is unstable. So the order is schedule, morning light, caffeine discipline, alcohol discipline, exercise timing, downshift routine. Then you test tools. What to measure? sleep onset time, awakenings, sleep efficiency, next day anxiety rating, next day focus rating, weekly average HRV if you track it. If you can't measure it, you can't claim it. Bucket 4 is longevity, and longevity is the most abused word on the internet. This bucket usually means immune balance, chronic inflammation reduction, metabolic resilience, mitochondrial signaling. Some peptides in this space are discussed for immune modulation or metabolic signaling, but you don't get longevity by vibes, you get it by scorecard. What to measure? Blood pressure, waist circumference, strength markers, conditioning markers like pace, heart rate response, and VO2 estimate, glucose markers, and recovery and sleep regularity. If those aren't improving, your longevity peptide isn't doing longevity. Bucket 5 is skin and hair. Here's the key. Skin is not a sponge, it's a bouncer. Topicals can absolutely help, but penetration is constrained by barrier integrity, formulation vehicle, molecular size, remember our 500 Dalton rule, and delivery methods. So with peptides, the question isn't do they work, it's what's the delivery system and what's realistic. What to measure? Standardized photos, same lighting, same angle, irritation and dryness score, hair shedding count if hair is the goal, and the biggest anti-aging topical in history is still SPF daily. I'm going to give you a decision framework from goal to baseline to measurement to the stop rule. All right, now we land the plane with the adult framework. This is how you talk peptides without turning into a walking ad. Step 1, pick one goal, one bucket. Fat loss, recovery, sleep and brain, longevity, skin and hair. Not 3, not everything, just one. Because if you try to optimize 5 systems at once, you don't optimize, you blur. And blur is where the scams live. Step 2, set a baseline. If you can't measure it, you can't claim it. Here are clean baselines by bucket. Fat loss, weekly weight trend, waist trend, strength trend, at least 1 to 2 anchor lifts. Steps, sleep consistency. For recovery and injury, pain score, same time daily. Function score, range, reps, load tolerance. Training capacity week to week. Sleep quality trend. For sleep and brain, sleep onset latency, awakenings, sleep efficiency, next day anxiety rating, next day focus rating, weekly HRV trend if you track it. For longevity and metabolic, blood pressure, waist circumference, conditioning marker, zone 2 pace, heart rate response, watch estimate, or a strength marker. Glucose markers as appropriate, lipids when clinically appropriate. Skin and hair, standardized photos, same lighting, same angle, same time. Irritation and dryness score, shedding count if hair is the goal. Step 3, define the measurement window. People quit too early or declare victory too fast. A clean window should look like this. 2 weeks for sleep signals, 4 to 8 weeks for performance and recovery trends, 8 to 12 weeks for body comp direction, 12 plus weeks for skin and hair consistency. Step 4, set a stop rule before you start. This is the difference between adults and chaos. Stop rules can be side effects, worsening symptoms, mood instability, declining performance, or no measurable benefit by your deadline. And here's the rule that saves you the most money. If you stack 5 new things at once, you learn nothing. You create noise, then you call the noise biohacking. Bonus rule, the evidence ladder. Before you fall in love with a molecule, ask something. Is this human outcomes data, mechanistic data, animal data, or pure anecdote? It will help guide you. A mechanism can be interesting. A story can be motivating. But neither is the same as proof. Don't worship a molecule, just track outcomes. Now the section that a lot of you have been waiting for, the peptides. Bucket 1, fat loss. Most searches here are really for appetite control and metabolic edge. So what do we have? GLP-1s, like Sema and Turs and Retta. These are the heavy hitters. Research interventions, large randomized controlled trials have shown 15 to 21% body weight loss over 68 to 72 weeks when combined with diet and exercise. How does it work? The GLP-1 receptor gets bound, and it leads to fullness, slowed gastric emptying, and improved insulin sensitivity. As of this year, real-world data shows 10 to 15% loss in practice due to discontinuation and muscle loss. Key limitation here is significant lean mass loss without high protein and resistance training. Up to 40% of total weight loss can be muscle. We've got AOD 9604, which is a growth hormone fragment. Preclinical, this shows a promotion of lipolysis in fat tissue. Human trials are small and older, but there is modest fat reduction in obese subjects, roughly 1 to 2 kilograms over 12 weeks. No major growth hormone side effects. Evidence level here is weak, mostly phase 2 data. There are no large confirmatory randomized controlled trials. Take home, GLP-1s have the strongest human evidence for fat loss but require medical supervision and muscle protection protocols. AOD is speculative, so you need to measure your body comp and not just use the scale. Bucket 2, injury, tendons, joints, and recovery. The peptide here is BPC 157, or body protection compound. Preclinical trials in rats and rabbits shows acceleration of tendon to bone healing, reduces inflammation, promotes angiogenesis. In humans, no large randomized controlled trials, mostly anecdotal and small observational studies for Achilles tendinopathy, ulcers, and post-injury recovery. Evidence level, promising preclinical, but very limited human trials. TB500, or thymosin beta-4 fragment, preclinical, promotes cell migration, actin sequestration and wound healing, and angiogenesis. Human data, extremely limited, small phase 1 and 2. It's banned in sports by WADA. Anecdotal reports for muscle strains and tendinopathy. Evidence level, preclinical is strong, human data is thin and anecdotal. Take home, both show repair signaling in animal models, but human evidence is weak. So prioritize progressive rehab, load management, sleep, and protein first. Use only under clinician guidance with clear stop rules. Bucket 3, sleep, anxiety, focus, and brain performance. C-Lank? Well, this is an interesting peptide. Small Russian studies showed anxiolytic effects, reduced anxiety scores, roughly 50% actually, improved cognition in stress models. Mechanism, it modulates enkephalins and BDNF upregulation. Evidence level is limited in human trials, and it's mostly Soviet-era data. Cmax, small trials, improved memory, BDNF and NGF upregulation, stroke recovery, ADHD-like symptoms. Mechanism, it's an ACTH analog and it's neuroprotective. Evidence level, it's modest human data, mostly from Russia. Preclinical evidence is strong. DSIP, or delta sleep-inducing peptide, preclinical evidence shows it regulates sleep cycles and reduces stress. Human data is super old, small studies on sleep architecture with mixed results. Evidence level is weak and outdated. Take home here, these may help stress, anxiety, and cognition in specific contexts, but evidence is limited in mostly non-Western trials. So prioritize sleep, hygiene, morning light, and conditioning first. Bucket 4, longevity, inflammation, and immune resilience. Thymosin alpha-1, human randomized controlled trials show immune modulation in viral infections, cancer adjunct, and vaccine response. Evidence level, strongest in this bucket. There are multiple trials for immune deficiency. MOTS-C, preclinical, mitochondrial-derived peptide, improves insulin sensitivity and extends lifespan in mice. Human data, very early, small studies on metabolism, age-related decline. Evidence level is promising preclinically, but very limited in humans. KPV, preclinical, strong anti-inflammatory in gut and skin models. Human data is emerging for IBD and skin inflammation. Evidence level, early stage. Take home, TA1 has the most human evidence for immune support. MOTS-C and KPV are speculative for longevity, so you want to focus on VO2 max, muscle mass, and glucose control first. Bucket 5, skin and hair. We've got GHK copper, the copper tripeptide. Now, human studies show wrinkle reduction, collagen stimulation, wound healing, hair growth in small trials. The mechanism is that it remodels the extracellular matrix. It's an antioxidant. Evidence level is moderate. There are several cosmetic trials and good safety. The topical penetration reality, most peptides, including GHK copper, are greater than 500 Daltons, so there's limited dermal penetration without enhancers, liposomes, or microneedling. Best wins here, barrier support, surface hydration, and mild remodeling over 8 to 12 weeks. Take home, GHK copper has solid cosmetic data. Physics does matter, so you need carriers or procedures for better results. And of course, SPF remains king. Now, we've given you the buckets and the peptides. Now you need to find a lane and stay there for 30 days. And that's how you're going to assess your progress or lack thereof. So here's the close. Pick a lane, run 30 days, don't stack chaos. Peptides can be tools, but without structure, they're just expensive confusion. In the show notes, there will be instructions on what the current research dosing is for peptides and some other information on handling the different strategies that we outlined above. So if this episode helped, share it with a friend who's about to buy a 12 peptide stack with no baseline. Stay strong, stay consistent, stay informed. And this is Ultimate Biohacker 10X, and I'm out. Thanks for listening to the Human 5.0 Project.
If you found value in today's episode, share it with someone who's ready to elevate their biology. Make sure to follow the show for weekly deep dives into peptides, protocols, devices, lifestyle strategies, and the science of high-performance longevity. Until next time, stay curious, stay optimized, and stay 10X.